wanted to kind of talk about, I guess, the restraints a little bit. That's something that I don't know. I had mixed feelings on it at first, and it really hit me when I first walked in and I see my dad basically strapped to the bed, and I couldn't figure out why. Like, I don't know, why he can't control himself, what's going on, like, why does he have to have these restraints? How come he can't, like, even go as far as, like, itch his head or move these things and have use of his arms? Like, what's going on? I didn't quite understand that. And to me, it was just something that dad never should have to have. And so, to me, I looked at those restraints, and so I was freaking out. I asked the nurse, like, hey, what's going on with these? She's like, well, your dad, he likes to, pull things out, and, he doesn't like his NG tube in. It was the first time, like, at Spring Valley where he started to do that, and they had to restrain him. And so, I walk in, and like, Dad, Jesus, what are those? And first thing he tells me, he goes, well, I turn into a werewolf at night, and so they have to put these on me for their safety. I'm like, glad you can make light of it, Dad, but that's not probably the right answer. So, he did. He made light of the situation, but, like, it was funny at the time, but really, like, when you see it live, like, and your parent they either have mittens on and they have straps on, it's something that scares you. And so as Dad continuously progressed through, like, this, call it a 90-day journey that we've been on, like, he's had the most of the time. I will say since probably February to almost Easter. So probably like 60 days easily of having restraints on, and for various reasons. So there was one day where I went in, it was, Dad was in Mountain View, and I think it was kind of when he was progressing in the right direction. Um, I walk in and I see the IV just sitting on the floor, and there's just kind of some blood on the side of his bed, and there's blood on his blanket, and, I look at his hand, I'm like, Dad, did you do this? He's like, no, it fell out. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I'm like, Dad, let me see your hand. So I looked at his other hand. Of course, there was blood on it because he yanked it out. And so a lot of it was he didn't have recollection of where he was or what was going on. And so he would wake up or come to and have a moment of, like, realization. And my thoughts is he would just start pulling things out. And not that he was, against medical treatment or trying to, like, cause problems for the nurses or cause problems for the doctors, but he just didn't simply know where he was. And I think that was very hard for me to understand. And so as I, more and more, Dad kind of progressed worse all the way over to, to Mountain Valley or to Mountain View Hospital, like, there was a need for the restraints. And I'm not saying that I ever want my dad in restraints, because that's not what this is about, but, like, there was a need medically for him to do that, because had he have kept pulling on those things, he would have pulled out his final PICC line, or he would have pulled out, his final line he was getting his nutrition from, because his arms were so swollen, they couldn't really find any more veins to stick needles in. And so it was important for him to not pull these things out, and they were running out of options. And so that's why, like, I understood the need for Dad to have the restraints, because that was essentially the only way he can get nutrition, without trying to yank stuff out. So I wanted to put that down so I don't forget about it, because that, like, to a lot of people can be scary. So talk soon.